अब अगर हम सोशल मीडिया की बात करें, थोड़े बहुत पॉइंट्स जो सोशल मीडिया कौन से पैरामीटर्स रखने चाहिए, उसके पहले हम ये जान लेंगे कि ई कॉमर्स जब हम लिस्टिंग कर रहे हैं, भले वो B2B हो या B2C हो, तो उसमें कौन से पैरामीटर्स हैं वो हमको ध्यान रखने चाहिए। तो बहुत बेसिक है, मोस्टली सब लोगों को पता है, बट आई विल रिपीट देम कि आपकी रजिस्टर्ड कंपनी होनी चाहिए, भले ही वो पार्टनरशिप फॉर्म क्यों ना हो, एलएलपी क्यों ना हो या प्राइवेट लिमिटेड क्यों ना हो। कुछ प्लेटफॉर्म्स ऐसे हैं जो सिर्फ एलएलपी और प्राइवेट लिमिटेड को ही लिस्टिंग्स देते हैं, कुछ ऐसे हैं जो पार्टनरशिप फॉर्म्स को भी लिस्टिंग करने की अपॉर्चुनिटी देंगे। आपका जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशन कंपलसरी होना चाहिए, तो भी आप लिस्टिंग्स कर पाएंगे। आपका ट्रेडमार्क रजिस्ट्रेशन, जैसे मिंत्रा का मैं एग्जांपल दूं, तो मिंत्रा विदाउट अ ट्रेडमार्क रजिस्ट्रेशन आपको लिस्टिंग्स के लिए अलाउ नहीं करेगा। आपका जो प्रोडक्ट शूट है वो बहुत ही प्रोफेशनली किया होना चाहिए, और साथ साथ में उनका बैकग्राउंड वाइट होना चाहिए, तभी आपकी लिस्टिंग्स एक्सेप्ट होंगी। वो जब लिस्टिंग जब आप करेंगे तब। अब इसमें भी कुछ अलग अलग प्लेयर्स अलग अलग चीजें करते हैं। जैसे मिंत्रा के पास अगर आप जाएंगे तो मिंत्रा प्रोडक्ट शूट्स खुद करेंगे, वो कभी भी आपके शूट्स आपके थ्रू नहीं करवाएंगे। तो वो मिंत्रा में अगर आप लिस्ट करना चाहते हैं तो आपको मिंत्रा को ही वो एक्सेस देना पड़ेगा फोटो शूट करवाने का। आपको अपना स्टॉक मैनेजमेंट और अकाउंटिंग बहुत ही अच्छी रखनी पड़ेगी अगर आप ये प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे लिस्टिंग करना चाहते हैं या ई कॉमर्स में आप अच्छा सेल्स चाहते हैं। तो ये कुछ बेसिक पॉइंट्स है। अब हम सिर्फ ई कॉमर्स को कैसे सेल्स आ सकते हैं थ्रू सोशल मीडिया, तो मैं उसके बारे में कुछ पॉइंट्स कहना चाहूंगा कि हमको सोशल मीडिया कैंपेन्स बहुत सारे करने पड़ेंगे। वैसे ही हमको ब्रांड अवेयरनेस कैंपेन्स बहुत सारे करने पड़ेंगे। तो वो कौन से कैंपेन्स हो सकते हैं, ताकि हमारी जो ई कॉमर्स लिस्टिंग्स हमने की हुई है या ई कॉमर्स की वेबसाइट्स हमने बनाई है, उस पे कैसे हमको इनफ सेल्स मिले या इनफ रीच मिले। तो आप कौन से कैंपेन्स कर सकते हैं। तो आप कैरोसेल कैंपेन्स कर सकते हैं। आपने देखा होगा अमेजोन या फ्लिपकार्ट की आपने एड्स देखी होंगी, जिसमें इमेजेस होती हैं, इमोजेस स्क्रॉल कर सकते हैं आप राइट साइड में, और फिर अकॉर्डिंगली जो प्रोडक्ट आपको अच्छा लगता है वो आप चूज करते हैं। आप टारगेट बेस्ड ऐड कर सकते हैं। जैसे अगर आपने अमेजोन पे लिस्टिंग की हुई है, तो आप अपने सारे प्रोडक्ट्स जो अमेजोन पे लिस्ट की हुई है उसको आप पर्टिकुलर एरिया में या फिर पर्टिकुलर सेट ऑफ पीपल उनको दिखा सकते हैं अपनी एड्स। और उस एड्स के थ्रू जो आपने लिस्टिंग्स की हुई है अपनी वेबसाइट पे या कोई और प्लेटफॉर्म पे, तो वो आपको उस लिस्टिंग्स के थ्रू आपको सेल्स मिल सकता है। अभी के करंट सिनारियो में अगर आपने देखा हो तो मैसेंजर ऑटोमेशन, अगर आपके फेसबुक पे, इंस्टाग्राम पे या फिर वेबसाइट पे भी अगर मैसेंजर ऑटोमेशन है, तो वो आपके शॉपिंग एक्सपीरियंस को एनहांस करेगा कस्टमर के लिए। और आपके अगर वो उसको रिडायरेक्ट भी करना है अमेजोन या फ्लिपकार्ट पे, तो वो काफी हेल्प करेगा। तो ऐसी चीजें आपको ध्यान रखनी पड़ेगी जब आप सोशल मीडिया पे कर रहे हैं। साथ साथ में अभी रिसेंटली फेसबुक शॉप और इंस्टाग्राम शॉप भी लॉन्च किया है फेसबुक ने, तो आप उसका भी अच्छा यूज कर सकते हैं अपनी वेबसाइट से लिंक करके या फिर अमेजोन या फ्लिपकार्ट से लिंक करके। आप अपने मार्केट प्लेस और शॉप का फीचर काफी अच्छे से यूज कर सकते हैं टू एंश्योर कि सोशल मीडिया पे भी आपके प्रोडक्ट्स कहीं ना कहीं दिख रहे हैं, और सॉरी और वो इनफ सेल्स दे रहे हैं आपको थ्रू दोज प्लेटफॉर्म्स। आप बहुत सारे कॉन्टेस्ट और गिव अवेज कर सकते हैं। मैं आपको कुछ एग्जांपल्स दूंगा कि बहुत बड़ी बड़ी ब्रांड्स कॉन्टेस्ट करती रहती हैं रेगुलरली, ताकि उनका अवेयरनेस हमेशा रहे और ब्रांड रिकॉल हमेशा होता रहे। साथ साथ में आप गिव अवेज भी कर सकते हैं कि जितने लोग भी वो गिव अवे में पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे ना, उतने लोगों को कुछ देंगे। तो हम गिव अवेज भी कर सकते हैं ताकि हमेशा आपका जो पोटेंशियल ऑडियंस है वो कहीं ना कहीं आपके साथ रहे। प्लस मैं आपको एक टूल बताना चाहूंगा जो मोस्टली सबको पता है, बट एक बहुत ही बेसिक टूल है जो आपके सोशल मीडिया मैनेजमेंट और सोशल मीडिया ट्रैकिंग को बहुत इजी कर देता है। वो है Hootsuite। उसके फ्री वर्जन भी अवेलेबल है, पेड वर्जन भी अवेलेबल है। अगर आप खुद मैनेज कर रहे हैं सोशल मीडिया तो आप Hootsuite का बिल्कुल यूज कर सकते हैं। सो आई थिंक आई एम मोर और लेस डन। आई हैव फ्यू क्वेश्चन जो मैंने खुद ही लिखे हुए हैं कि मुझे जो कुछ लोगों ने पूछे थे बिफोर द सेशन। तो आई थिंक वी कैन टेक दैट आफ्टरवर्ड्स। अभिषेक जी, वी कैन मूव फॉरवर्ड विद कश्यप सर। हेलो हेलो। Yeah, I think, sir, Kashyap sir, we can take it forward. Sir, you are mute.
Correct. Yeah. So before I start, Anand, can you make me the co-host so that I can mute if someone is So,
Done,
thank
sir.
you.
Done.
Thank you. Fantastic, Anand. I think Anand has given a very, very practical tips about how to start your e-commerce business and how do you build and grow your e-commerce business. And also, e-commerce does not mean just having a presence on those e-commerce platform, as Anand mentioned. It is also very important to support that e-commerce presence with the right social media campaigns. And I think Anand has given a few examples, and maybe I think post our talk we can also share a few practical campaigns, and maybe Anand can share his clients few campaigns to give us an idea about how do you roll out a social media campaign. So I think Anand is given a right context about how do you set up an e-commerce business. Uh, I would like to talk about a picture that what are the broader digital trends and innovation that is happening. Because if you see right now, okay, in earlier days it was very difficult to launch a brand. Why? Because the cost of launching a brand was too high, very prohibitive. But now, thanks to digital, now we have a lot of brands that are emerging, what we call them the direct to consumer, D2C brand, or you can call digital to consumer brands. Okay, and there are very great examples, companies like, let's say, Beardo from Ahmedabad. Okay, in less than 3 years they have grown fantastically and now acquired by a traditional FMCG giant like Marico. So there are a lot of such companies like the Man Company, the Mama Earth cosmetic brand. And in each segment, if you see, it's not just fashion or FMCG brands. Each segment now people have that courage to launch them brand to consumers using those interesting e-commerce platforms. So this provides us very, very interesting opportunities. And if you see even Surat, Surat primarily known for a textile market. So we have a lot of Surat-based entrepreneurs doing fantastic selling kurtis online, and with a sizable revenue per year. And same is true for sari brands from Surat who are doing fantastic online. So they are leveraging the e-commerce platform very effectively to grow their business. So real question is ki, yes, e-commerce business is going to give you that traction, it's going to give you that revenue. But then for a long term, can I convert that in building a strong, sustainable brand? Because what has been observed that, that e-commerce, a pure play e-commerce business, you can reach, let's say, 100 crore in less than 3 years. And I think the companies that I mentioned, be it Beardo or Mama Earth or a few other companies, they have actually done it. So very, very fast growth. Otherwise, in traditional business, to reach that kind of market takes years. So e-commerce give you that speed and that scalability. But the challenge that being faced by most of the brands, when they start growing, is to cross the bigger barrier, or say barrier of, let's say, 500 crore. Why they are unable to scale up bigger brands? Because they are not investing in brand building. I think because e-commerce is going to give you a very, very immediate revenue, sales growth, but then at the same time you can leverage this strength to slowly build your brand, so that when you go into the offline space, because that is where the whole still a lot of action is happening. If you see, let's say Amazon in US is just 3% of the retail business of US. So though e-commerce is growing very fast, but if you want to really grow big in your segment, you need to also focus on traditional offline general trade, modern trade business, and then you need to leverage your e-commerce strength in growing your business in the traditional business. I think that's why importance of leveraging your brand strength, importance of doing those traditional branding and marketing innovation is still very relevant. Okay, so I think let's focus on walls, things we can do. And as I think my favorite startup entrepreneur Guy Kawasaki, who built Macintosh computer, he said very beautifully that brands are built on what people are saying about you, not what you are saying about yourself. I think that is very, very true, that while you're doing your e-commerce business, you also work on building the right brand. How do you do that? Is this digital branding different than the traditional media branding? No, because for all of the new, the old rules still apply. The basic branding and marketing principle remains the same, be it whether you're in the online world or an offline world. So I think what has changed is, the brand communication in the offline world is typically controlled, organized, a medium focus, basically print media, TV media. So it's medium focus, product driven, and it's a monologue. So that is the typical brand communication which is being practiced by most of these guys. But digital brand communication is very, very different, completely opposite. It is more transparent. It is more vibrant. It is medium independent because, in digital, you can reach out to anywhere. It is basically people driven. I think user plays a very, very important role, and we'll come to that also. And it is basically a dialogue. Whatever you do online, if you're doing a small campaign on a Facebook, yeah, I'm sure you're going to get some response, positive or negative. So there is a dialogue. So I think once we need to understand that the difference between the communications offline world, online world, and then understand what are the trends that are happening in the online digital world, what are the innovations that are possible, even using technology also, because I think digital ultimately is also technology plays a very, very important role. So I think you combine both your branding expertise, your traditional, your e-commerce expertise, your technology expertise, and then you slowly grow your brand. Okay. Also, mention about the digital media, how it is different from the traditional media. Traditional media, we do paid campaigns, we buy newspaper ads, television ads. Same thing is very true in the digital space. You have to buy Facebook ad, you have to buy Instagram ad, you have to pay for those YouTube ads. So paid media is definitely there in the digital space also. Second, what we call it is the earned media. Even in the traditional space, we use PR, to create kind of, buzz about our brand. Digital space also, you can earn, you can create those buzz to build your digital PR. But one very drastic difference between the traditional media and digital media is, in the digital world, you can actually own media. And when I say you can own media, what does that mean? Simple example of, if you have a Facebook page with, let's say, 1 million likes or subscribers, that means now you own that Facebook page. That is your property on the online space where you're engaging with your customers. Now this clear differentiation between the traditional and this digital world, this gives us immense flexibility and engagement possibilities with those customers. So for example, if we talk about Surat, so for example, there are a lot of kurti brands in Surat, okay? But if you see the leading national brands, and if you see the way they are building their brands, even in the digital space, so for example, kurti brands like Soch, they have 1 million plus Facebook likes on their Soch Facebook page. A kurti brand called All About Love, okay, a brand by Deepika Padukone, again 1 million plus. All the brands like Biba and all, they have very, very strong social media presence. As Anand was saying, they do very, very effective campaigns, social media campaigns, the traditional creative campaigns to engage their brand. So they are leveraging both the e-commerce benefits of giving that scale, at the same time very effectively using those traditional textbook marketing and branding campaigns to strengthen their position in the market. So I think because you own certain media, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe a Facebook page, maybe even you own your website, which is your own media, I think that gives you a lot of leverage. I think we need to understand that. And as Anand was saying, when you start, okay, you don't build your own e-commerce store because it's very, very expensive. It's very difficult to get users on your website. But it has been observed that slowly, once you use those Mintras and the Facebook of the world, if you have the right business philosophy and the right company vision, you can slowly build your own web store, okay, which is a very, very long-term game. And there are examples of, for example, there's a t-shirt brand called the Soul Store or the Bewkoofs of the world. What they're doing is they launch their products or their brand on a traditional e-commerce platform, and slowly they divert their traffic to their own website, because then you're not paying those 20-30% distribution charges to those e-commerce platforms, which is straight profit for you. So I think those are different strategies being used in the digital world, and we need to understand that. And we need to understand that we need to use leverage, technology. Technology should be a creative facilitator. I think that we need to understand, and we'll also give examples of how we can use technology, to do innovation. Now, before I come to the trends and innovations, there are a few things to understand in the digital economy. Okay, one is about the revenue model. Okay, right now we are talking about e-commerce. So e-commerce, we always feel that e-commerce is all about the e-commerce transaction that happens. But if you see in the e-commerce space also, there are a lot of brands, they are not doing those transaction-based revenue. They also, a lot of brands use subscription-based revenue. So, there are a lot of brands, and I'm talking about brands who are fashion brands who are on subscription-based. There are, the shaving blade brand, Dollar Shaving Club, US based company, they, subscription based model. So even in the e-commerce space, you can, have a very interesting revenue model, to grow your business. So e-commerce is one, subscription could be another business model. So you need to explore different revenue and business models also. Now, today I'm going to give you two things. One is at KSL, we have a very interesting digital marketing model, which we call it a 5C digital marketing model. I think those 5C principles, gives you a broader direction about how do you build a brand. Look at your brand. So what is this 5C model all about? The first C of this 5C model is customer centricity. I think and now when we say customer centricity, you may say, oh, customer is anyway important, whether it's digital or offline. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. The importance of customer centricity increases in the digital world, because in the digital world, I expect personalization. I expect you to know a lot about me, because we have a lot of touch points, and I assume that you capture those touch points to, fine tune your communication, your messaging to me. I think this something is very, very important. You need to personalize communication to your customers, because you've generated a lot of data. And I think there are a lot of tools available, to do that. So I think this customer focus is very important. Secondly, digital world gives you a lot of data. So when you're doing an e-commerce business, I'm sure, let's say if you look at your 1 year's balance sheet, and let's say if you're doing 100 rupees, using data analytics, you can actually pinpoint what are the trends. It gives you an exact, the trends and figures to give you the right direction, right insights to, evaluate how do I engage customers, what kind of customers. For example, again, taking Suraj's example of kurtis and saris of the world, okay, the North Indian buying behavior is drastically different from, the Bengal belt users' behavior and the South Indian customer base. Now your data will give you those insights, so that you can fine tune not only what kind of designs you can produce, but also what should be the quantity at what time. So it gives you, a right portfolio strategy also. So I think if you look at customers more carefully in a digital space, you can leverage that even better. So I think first, foremost is customer centricity. Second C is very important, which is community. I think digital world is all about community. And I think most of the successful brands have built strong online community. And when I say community, it's not just about, people who like the Facebook page, but then, people who actually love your brand, who talks about your brand, who spread word about your brand. There are groups, there are subgroups, and those community can be leveraged very effectively to grow your brand. Give an example, when Uber started in US, okay, people are very excited about this thing of a taxi, calling a taxi using a mobile phone. So there's a strong Uber fan club kind of a community across US. But then Uber was kind of, having some trouble with the government about the licensing. So when government protested and then canceled the taxi license of Uber, actually the community, Uber community, the users of Uber came on the street supporting Uber. Now just imagine if you can, command that kind of loyalty from your customer, you can build that community. And I think a lot of people have done that. For example, Beardo, again, as we were talking about the Ahmedabad brand, Beardo nowadays, look at, Anand and all guys are keeping a beard. I think the whole trend of about, beard being cool, okay, is very, very strategically built by a lot of such brands like Beardo, the Man Club, and there are a lot of, Let's Shave, and there are a lot of brands who are doing it. So, they're building a strong community. So I think this community and leveraging that community is very, very important. So second C is community. Let's come to the third C. Third C is all about coverage. Now, what do I mean by coverage? When we talk about e-commerce, we'll say, oh, if I am on Myntra and I am on Flipkart and Amazon, India is my market. You're absolutely right. Okay. Wherever they are available, whichever pin code they service, you're definitely going to be there through those platforms. But then how do you build your brand? Because all those e-commerce platforms are just a distribution tool. But when, they are not actually helping you sell your product. The product is only there. You need to make certain concentrated branding and marketing exercise, to create demand for your product. Now, as a new brand, relatively smaller brand, you cannot go pan-India. So the effective marketing strategy being used by most of the brands on the online spaces, though they are present on the e-commerce platform available across the country, but they start with small area. Okay, they start with certain select cities. They start with certain select region, and then slowly, depending on what kind of response they are getting for different kind of campaigns, they fine tune their strategy and then they slowly grow. So in India, there are brands who start with one state and over a period of 3 years, they reach 20 states. Same is true across the world. So you have to decide what kind of coverage in terms of your brand and marketing campaign you need to have, depending on the resource availability. If you have enough capital, enough resources, you can go pan-India from day one. But most of the brands don't have that luxury. So you have to be very, very careful about what kind of coverage I want. So for example, again, taking sari example, if I have a sari brand, I'll focus on UP and Bihar more, because almost 30-40% of sari business in India happens in these two states. So if I were to build a sari brand, I'll look at Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Instead of tier 1 cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, I'll go to tier 2 and tier 3 towns on those two states and build my campaign, and then slowly I'll expand my market. So I think this is very, very important. How do you decide what kind of market you want to cover, depending on what is your brand strategy, what kind of capital you have. So third C is coverage. Fourth C is context. Now, what is context? So context may have different interpretation. Context could be, say, your position, your brand position in the market gives you a certain context, whether you are a market leader or a market challenger or you're a nobody. There's a context in terms of competitors. There's always a context in terms of the market environment you have. Now, as a brand, you need to understand and acknowledge what kind of context you have in terms of brand positioning, in terms of marketing environment, and then leverage that context. For example, let's say in US currently, Black Lives Matter is a very, very important campaign that is being supported by entire nation. So now Nike, okay, a very, very leading brand, they came up with a campaign to support Black Lives campaign with their theme called Nike Don't Do It. So they twisted that brand campaign of Nike Just Do It to Nike Don't Do It, don't do racism. So I think this is how they gave the right context. And context means getting into the right content to the right prospect at the right time. I'll again say, right content to the right prospect at the right time. Now, this is what context is all about. You can leverage it very well. For that, you need to have pearls of the market very, very closely. And this is very important. So the fourth C is all about context. Let me come to the last C, which is collaboration. And I think a lot of people have talked a lot about collaboration. So I'll not go much into the detail, because collaboration can happen on a business to business level. At the same time, collaboration can happen also at the customer level. Prime example I'll give you, a brand called Lego. Those, building blocks brand, Lego. Now, when Lego was degrowing, what they did was they collaborated with customers themselves. They asked customers, what do you want? What kind of Lego designs you want? They ran campaigns, involving customers, and they picked up, designs suggested by customers. So its collaboration is not with your only vendors or maybe with your business partners. Collaboration can happen with the customers also. And digital gives you that liberty to reach out to your customers. So find possibilities on how do you collaborate with customers, vendors, and then grow your brand. So I think 5 C's, as I said, very, very important to build your broader brand and marketing strategy in the digital space. And again, as I said earlier, again I repeat, that branding strategy is no different. The traditional branding practices is still relevant for the digital world because, and here we need to understand one thing very clearly, and this is, I always keep repeating this in most of my talks, is marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make. It's not about the products or the stuff that you make, but about the stories that you tell. So I think very important is you need to build your right brand story. And for that, we can have a different session altogether. But then how do you build a brand story? How do you, capture those digital trends? How do you build those digital brand stories? Okay, what are the broader trends? Okay, so I think Anand has also already mentioned about those social media campaigns, a different kind of social media campaign, maybe, importance of Instagram or Facebook. So those are very, very, important trends that is already happening. But I'll also tell you about 4 or 5 broader trends that is going on. One and most important trend in the digital world is what we call customer-led storytelling. That is user-generated content, UGC, that's what we call it. Okay, what is user-generated content? Typically, brands are, used to, generating content on their own in the traditional world. Yeah, I'll run an ad campaign, I'll develop a film, I'll contain, write, I'll publish material. But now, this social media has given this power to customers to generate a lot of content. So brands have, capture that opportunity. Can I use my customers to generate content for me so that I can grow my brand? Classic example, a very recent example of Dettol India. Dettol India very recently did hand wash challenge. A very, very simple thought, for this COVID-19 situation. A Dettol India hand wash challenge on TikTok. You know what was the response? So they involved users, and I think when they launched on March 14th, within 5 days, on March 18th, it got 9 billion views. Friends, 9 billion, 900 crore views in 5 days. All user-generated content. Within, I think, within a week, it doubled to 18 billion. And now I think they've crossed more than 50 billion views. A completely user-generated content. Obviously, yes, they use internet influencers also to, give that push to that brand. But ultimately, it was a user-generated content. They involved and engaged so many users. I think this is the beauty of user-generated content. And this can happen for a kurti brand. This can happen for diamond ring brand. This can happen for any brands. It's up to us. How do we engage and connect with the customers so that they spend the time to generate content for you? So I think this is very important, and we all can leverage that. Customer-led storytelling. Second trend that is emerging is micro ads. I think we all have agreed, and I think Anand also mentioned that video is very important now because video consumption has increased. But if you see in video also, the one trend that is emerging is micro ads. What is a micro ad? So for example, in the traditional world, we have those 30-second television ads. Okay. Now, earlier, those traditional guys, what they used to do was they will run the same TVC on the digital platform. Now, when an ad is being run while I'm watching a YouTube or a Facebook, okay, one thing I wait for is that skip ad, which is I can do after 5 seconds. This because any ad is interruption for me, for a user. Okay, so here the importance of micro ads. Can I create a 6-seconder ad to engage that? Okay, now this is very important. How do you tell your brand story? How do you remind customers about your brand in 6 seconds? We were struggling in the ad world. We are struggling with this 30 seconds. Now you need to do a 6 seconds. That is what is happening, because now I don't have a patience to wait for the 30-second ad. So now, can I do micro ads? And I think a lot of companies are already doing it. Ben and Jerry ice cream is a classic example. You can check their ads online. Very interesting, because in 6 seconds to get that, customers' attention, you need a lot of creative innovation, I think. But I think micro ads is a very, very important trend, because video, as we say, people typically, as it's observed, that almost 80% of internet buyers, use video before making a purchasing decision. So I think video is very important. And again, in video, micro ads, the small 6-seconder becomes a very, very important tool. So that is the second trend. Third trend, which is very close to this micro ad, which we call it content snacking. For example, during the breaks, we have those bhujiyas of the world, So similarly, in the digital world, there's a lot of content available in the market. So as a user, when we are traveling, let's say, for example, in Mumbai, people travel by train, and, whenever we are traveling, we just browse through the internet without any particular agenda. And during that time, we consume a lot of content. So as a brand, can I develop content which is engaging enough for the customers? It could be in terms of interesting infographics. It could be in terms of smaller 2-3 minute videos which engages customers. Okay, diet and nutrition companies are using that very effectively. So each brand can create those kind of interesting and engaging content which is linked or indirectly to a brand, but a small 2-3 minute video or a basic, very interesting infographic. That kind of content snaking is slowly increasing, and video-based content making has a huge potential. I think this is the third trend which is emerging very fast. Fourth trend is little bit related to the technology also. Immersive storytelling. Here, as I said earlier, the digital world, in the digital world, technology plays a very, very important role, because you can leverage technology to add a lot of features. So immersive storytelling is basically about using technology of augmented reality and mixed reality to give your customers the experience that you want to give, because you don't want those guys to come to your store because you don't have a store. So you want to give that experience on the online space. How do you do that? IKEA, who recently opened a retail store in Hyderabad, is a classic example of using augmented reality and those immersive storytelling tools. So what they tell customers is, give us your dimension of your drawing room, your bedroom, and then select the furniture. We will put that furniture in that room and we'll tell you how it will look in your home. Now, this is something using technology to give that customer that feel, exactly that furniture, that sofa set, how it will look in my room. I think this is the power of the technology, and using it to give the right customer experience, involving customers. I think day by day, I think as internet speeds are slowly increasing, now we're going to have 5G very soon. So now this kind of technology will play a very, very important role, immersive storytelling. And finally, the fifth trend, which is very, very important, which we cannot ignore, is data-driven storytelling. I think earlier also I mentioned about importance of data in the digital world. And again, how we use this data. Can I use this data to create a story? What are the examples of that? For example, I'll give example of 2 brands. One, Huggies, the diaper brand. What they realized is, they churned a lot of data, they did a lot of research, and they found out that hugs, hugging baby, calms their nerves, stabilizes their vital signs. So they came up with a campaign called, Hug Your Baby. Now, this is a very, very simple concept of using certain insight, market insights, converting that market insight into an interesting challenge or a hashtag, and build a campaign around it. Whirlpool, for example, okay, and I'm saying this is not just limited to the digital world. This they can extend it to the offline world also. Okay, for example, when Whirlpool in US realized that the school dropout rate is very high. Almost 4,000 students drop out from school every day. And one of the reasons they found out was they're dropping out because they don't have clean clothes. Very surprising, but true. So Whirlpool then install washing machines and dryers in certain select schools so to reduce the dropout rate. Now, this is again using certain data, the data or market insights, and building a story around it. And for that, I think, as I said, mentioned earlier, you need to keep having that pulse on the customer's nerve. You need to have those customer insights on a regular basis so that you can build a very, very interesting and compelling brand story. So again, when I say brand story, why I keep harping on the brand story part is very simple, because there's an African proverb that says, tell me the facts and I'll learn, tell me the truth and I'll believe, but tell me a story and it will remain in my heart forever. So I think you can use those storytelling capabilities to build your brand on the digital world. And I think, again, because we are talking about e-commerce, the only last point that I'll mention before we open for the question and answer, that typically in India right now, if you see, there are almost 40 to 45 crore internet users. And out of that, I think almost 1 in 5 users are e-commerce buyers, which is almost 8 to 9 crore people across India. Again, out of that, the growth is right now coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So I think this gives us an immense opportunity for brands, for even smaller town, to think big, to think national, to think international. And I think that's why we need to leverage the power of e-commerce, the power of digital marketing to grow our business and build a stronger brand, so that when we enter the offline world, it also gives us the leverage to even grow further. Thank you very much, guys. Over to you, Anand.
Yeah, so very nicely kept forward, sir, that what are the trends revolving around the digital platforms. Abhishek ji, you have something to add?
Yes, of course. Anand, you also gave very nice insights that how to use the e-commerce B2B platforms and what are the operational challenges when it comes actually to run down the business. Kashyap bhai, we had very insightful gatherings from you, in fact, also that what is the importance of the storytelling for building a very good brand either in digital media or in the traditional media. Secondly, the 5 C's which you shared with us, that was very specific, actionable, where you gather the data of the customers, you work on the customer centricity, you work on collaboration, communication in the right context, and everything. Whatever you shared with us is very much important and very helpful in the business. But as we talked about all of the important information, I would like to have asked some of the questions which our audience also asked, and as a personal advisor to some of the entrepreneurs here in Surat, I would like to ask to you, Anand, first, that let's suppose a person who is doing business from last 15 years completely into the traditional sector through brick and mortar model, whether he's into electronics or whether he's into, let's suppose he's doing a dealership business, how can he start business as the right vertical in this? What are the 3 action points which he should do at the start of this doing first transaction in the e-commerce business? What are the 3 points which you would like to share with us?
Very, very good question, sir. This is the question which I get from all the major clients that I meet on day-to-day basis, specifically the clients who are in the industry from last 15 to 20 years and are doing great in the offline businesses. उनका wholesale business चल रहा है, उनका retail business चल रहा है, उनको problem ही नहीं है. But they are now moving forward to an online business also, so that their revenue channels are diversified. So I would like to answer this question in 2 forms. सबसे पहले तो सब लोग यही पूछते हैं कि ऑफलाइन बिजनेस है, धंधा चल रहा है, हम क्यों ऑनलाइन करें, क्यों माथापच्ची में जाएं. सो सबसे पहला पॉइंट, rather than diversifying into something, I am really sorry about this, rather than diversifying into mask or PPE kits, you can diversify into an online business whereby you can obviously focus on the same products but in a different model whereby you can earn a lot of things. Second, key pointers क्या है, उसके पहले I like to mention one more thing. Specifically when a lot of people try to understand the online and e-commerce business, they think कि इसमें investment बहुत ज़्यादा है, चाहे वो time का हो या पैसे का हो, क्योंकि Amazon भी subscription fee लेगा आपसे, Myntra भी लेगा, Flipkart भी लेगा, आपकी खुद की website बनाएंगे आप तो उसमें भी पैसा लगेगा, domain का, server का, सब चीज़ का. But I normally answer this in a cute form कि जब हम अच्छा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स लेते हैं, 1 लाख रुपए का आईफोन लेते हैं, मैकबुक लेते हैं, हम एक्स्ट्रा क्लोथ्स एकदम अच्छे अच्छे खरीदते हैं, शूज खरीदते हैं, वो हमको बहुत अच्छा फीलिंग देता है. बट हम उसका उल्टा नहीं सोचते कि when we invest on platforms like this and when we invest on our own business and specifically online business, this will help us buy those things in future.
Correct.
So rather than asking questions कि मेरे को ऑनलाइन बिजनेस क्यों करना चाहिए, इफ वी प्लान एंड डू बजटिंग ऑन अ वेरी गुड फॉर्म और बहुत अच्छे से प्लानिंग करें, तो मेरे को नहीं लगता कि जो हम एक फोन की जगह हम 10 फोन ले पाएंगे शायद, पर हमारा वो इन्वेस्टमेंट, हम अगर हम उसको देखें कि हम ये इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं आज हमारे बिजनेस के लिए, सो इट विल हेल्प अस. नाउ व्हेन आंसरिंग टू योर क्वेश्चन इन द राइट फॉर्म कि 3 एक्शनेबल स्टेप्स कौन से होने चाहिए, तो सबसे पहले प्लानिंग एंड बजटिंग. अगर आप प्लानिंग एंड बजटिंग नहीं कर रहे हैं तो आप गलत राह पे आ रहे हैं. तो आपका कोई भी कंसल्टेंट हो, आप उसको बताइए कि आपके क्या प्लान है, क्या बजट है. ठीक है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों को बजट नहीं पता होते हैं, प्लानिंग नहीं पता होता. यू कैन ऑब्वियसली टॉक टू अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल एंड अंडरस्टैंड, बट इफ यू हैव अ प्लान एंड अ बजट, इट विल बी वेरी इजी फॉर एनी वेंडर और एनी पर्सन इफ यू आर हायरिंग आल्सो टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आपको किस फॉर्म में आगे बढ़ना है. सेकंड, यू शुड बी वेरी क्लियर कि which segment you are going forward. जैसे मेल, फीमेल, एज ग्रुप आपको पता होना चाहिए. B2B सेगमेंट है, B2B सेगमेंट है, B2C सेगमेंट है. आजकल तो ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन का भी मिक्सचर लोग कर रहे हैं. तो ये सेगमेंट आपका बहुत अच्छे से क्लियर होना चाहिए. एंड आपका जो भी वेंडर है, मेरे हिसाब से आपको मोस्ट ऑफ द लोग इसमें वेंडर ही चूज करते हैं स्पेसिफिकली. तो आपको वेंडर चूज करते वक्त थोड़ा ध्यान रखना चाहिए. और अगर आप हायर भी कर रहे हैं तो आप अच्छे कंसल्टेंट या फिर हायरिंग सोच समझ के करें. क्योंकि मेरा एक रीसेंट एक्सपीरियंस है, मैं क्लाइंट का नाम नहीं लूंगा ऑब्वियसली. एक क्लाइंट ने मुझे बोला कि आई हायर्ड अ वेंडर, बट वो वेंडर ने मेरे से कुछ एक्स अमाउंट मांगा लैक्स में.
हाँ, तो वो नहीं देखेगा ना, अभी बहुत हो गया भाई.
That amount, that person took away and ran away. Now similarly, when they hired an in-house person, they were not able to take constant follow-ups, and that is why they were not able to do anything. So again, the first point is कि आपको planning and budgeting करनी पड़ेगी अच्छे से. Second कि आपको HR अपना ध्यान से देखना पड़ेगा. और थर्ड, अगर आप vendor choose कर रहे हैं, technology choose कर रहे हैं और segment सही choose कर रहे हैं, I think it will be the right step to move forward.
Thank you, Anand. That was very brief. That feasibility study, right product and the market fit, and second, getting the right team of the consultants and the in-house team to develop this as a separate vertical and with a longer term vision is something which you propose to everyone you meet and everyone who wants to do in this business. Kashyap, going further, I would like to ask a question that a lot of this offline players who are doing already good business in the traditional sector are facing the problem of the pricing, that in online we have to give discounts. Let's suppose you are selling any product, whether in electronics or accessories or let's suppose any bottles or anything that you have to sell in the online at 500 rupees, but the same commodity is selling in the offline market at 600 rupees. So that in their own business it affects the whole ecosystem. So how do we stabilize, or how do we make a consumer mindset that offline prices or because even the offline people start complaining about that आपके ही website पे सस्ता माल मिल रहा है and you are selling to us at the higher prices. So how does it get solved here? Mute. Kashyap, it's mute.
So I think this is a very, very tricky question, and there is no right answer for that because everyone is trying to figure out. And I think especially if I give an example of particular segment, so let's say consumer electronics, especially the mobile segment. I think earlier there was a lot of challenge. In fact, if you see a couple of years back, there was a huge disparity between the online price of a mobile phone and an offline price. But now they have come to certain conclusion, and now there is a parity in terms of online and offline. That the price remains the same, whether you go to Chroma to buy a mobile phone or whether you are ordering from Amazon. So I think that parity has come, but that is not true for almost all brands. I think that's the challenge a lot of guys face. For example, you may visit a shopper stop, you like a shirt or a jeans, but immediately what you do is you go on a Myntra and then you try to find out discount mil raha hai ki nahi. So
books are the finest example. Books are the finest example.
Absolutely. So basically, I visit Crossword, just to click photograph the book covers.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, absolutely. Because there's a huge 40% distribution margin in the book space. So you easily get 25% minimum discount on the online space. So, so this is the challenge being faced by most of the guys. Now, what is the way out? So there is no easy way out. Okay. So if you see, there are two broader strategies that is being used by most of the brands. One is they, they will tell you that if you want the right experience, for example, if you want to buy right jeans for you, you would like to try that jeans. Okay, so you will be visiting a retail store, you will try it out, we'll check, and then you're going to order. And for that convenience, for that benefit, that experience, you may end up paying certain extra, and people are paying it. Okay, so that is one strategy that is being used. So if same jeans you may order online and you may get a 300 rupee discount, but then I'm getting the right fit, alteration ho jata hai, so those things, then I'll pay those extra whatever 10-15% that I may get discount. That is one way that people will do that. Second, and interestingly, a lot of guys are doing it, that the stuff that is available online is typically not available in the offline space. That is true in the fashion space, that the stock that is available online. So you'll notice this when you visit Zara's and the Shoppers Shops of the world. You see a shirt or a top in those retail shops, and you search on Myntra, it's hardly available. Why? Because now brand have created presence in both the worlds, but they kind of divided their SKUs. If these products are for online space, these products are for offline space. Otherwise, how do I differentiate? And I think the classic case is all these mobile brands. So if you see, there are internet-only mobile brands from Samsung. So those brands are only available they are never available on the Chroma. And if you carefully see the features, there is hardly any difference in terms of features. Okay, but still the model number is different. So the way they are saying is, boss, this J30 is available online, J31 is not available. Okay.
True.
So this is the way of, way out kind of. But yes, this is always going to be the big challenge faced by most of the brands across the world, across the categories. Anand, would you like to add to here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Before we move on, I would like to add one thing. There is a strategy which can be applied specifically for textile businesses when they are doing B2B and B2C both. So what you can do is you can list everything on your website. Only list. Don't mention the prices. Now, when you are doing B2C, mention the prices, mention the offers, whatever you want to give. Whenever the person is coming to your website, they will click on inquire. They'll come to your WhatsApp or email, and then you can ask them, are you inquiring for a bulk order or a one-to-one order? If you are inquiring for a one-to-one order, you can go on Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra and purchase. If you are asking for a bulk order, then I'll contact you with my salesperson, and then we can take it forward. And these strategies can be used. A lot of people are already using it, and I think this might help, but not to a lot of businesses, specifically for textile businesses.
Very well explained. Both of the strategies which are being used, very well explained, Kashyap bhai. And one thing which you talked about was that customer experience or the customer journey. Most of the people like Lenskart, if we take an example, they provide the almost same experience which you are getting in the offline store, in the online stores. So that can be done for most of the commodities which are being available offline and online both. The next question would again to be Kashyap ji, that it's a question from one of our members who is attending the session, that what about the businesses who have just started e-commerce or e-marketplaces because of the lockdown? Let's suppose a grocery store, e-grocery store has just been started. So how do you presume that for an initial business who was doing very good in lockdown, during lockdown, after lockdown, how can he continue the same amount of website traffic which he was getting before that, and how he can maintain that same level of business? Because before lockdown there was not many opportunities or the many possible options for him, but now as the lockdown opens, a lot of people would enter into the space, kill his business, kill his market share. So how that place, who was an initial go-getter and started his own e-grocery store, and he would continue. This question was from bombay22.com. It's his website name, which has just done this kind of business.
So I think there are two things to it again. One is what has happened post-COVID. So I think post-COVID, what has happened is now we have started ordering online. We have increased our engagement in the online space, drastically increased our engagement. People who were never online, they are now online. People who never bought a single thing online, they started buying online. I think this is something which is very, very big boost to a lot of sectors. Okay. So that is a good thing. So I think those guys who are already in the e-commerce space, I think they are going to benefit, and I'm sure they must be benefiting now. So for example, be it Kirana or maybe be it a sari guy who is selling online, they've already started selling saris online. Their shops are not open in Surat, but they're selling on Meeshos and Mintras of the world. So that is something which is given a boost. Okay. Now, specifically for a Kirana store, so what I understand from you is that, the gentleman, he has his own e-commerce platform.
True.
Now, that is a tricky game. Okay. So in the internet world, there is scope for only 2 players in any category. Okay. So if you're not among the top 2 in, let's say, next 5 to 10 years, you're going to die. Okay. When I say die means either you'll be acquired by someone or actually you'll die. Okay, but that is the harsh reality of the digital world. Because in the digital space, unlike the offline space where you have, 100 shops of saris in one lane, okay, it doesn't happen in the e-commerce world. Okay, in e-commerce world, I'll download Amazon, I'll download Flipkart, I'll download Myntra, I'll download Snapchat, I'll download Snapdeal and ShopClues, but then I'll uninstall ShopClues, I'll uninstall Snapdeal, I'll uninstall Flipkart, and then only I'll use Amazon and Myntra. Okay, so this is what happens in the online space. It's absolutely cutthroat competition. So for a Kirana, e-grocer kind of a players, the only option that is available is to protect the local smaller market and maybe try to defend that. Again, I'll say try to defend it, because a big player, when they enter with a huge resources. I think Anand and we've seen what happened to a Surat-based brand in that Zomato Swiggy space. Okay, a 20 people team, doing a home delivery of food was an amazing thing in Surat. But when Zomato entered, they entered with 300 people. Okay, so that company either had to be bought by those biggies, or they need to have a natural death. So that is the harsh reality of internet or digital world. Anand?
Thank you. Yes, Anand, any point?
I agree with you, sir, totally. And I think he should understand this as of now, because when he is trying to do something online and trying to figure out कि मैं आप कैसे sustain करूँ, उससे better he should start making strategies of selling his business to big basket or people like grofers and stuff. That it becomes very easy, ताकि वो उनका products उस marketplace पे डाल के at least business चालू रखे, rather than competing with them.
True. It's being already said that do not fight with the elephants of the world. You will be crushed. So both of you, what you suggested, I hope the member gets their answer. That either create your own niche for the local market and then try to get sold as a strategic buyer for the other investor. That should be your strategy about, rather than getting the market share in the larger term of vision, in the larger term of picture. My next question to you would be, Anand, that since in a general commodity, be it jewelry, be it electronics, or be it textiles, there were 10 players who were doing e-commerce business as of now, who are doing very good. Before 2013-14, there was a huge plethora of players operating in that segment, making huge losses. But after 2015, only good players remain. Again, the same story I observe would happen, because most of players who were doing offline business would come into this. So what do you suggest to this people or to this business owners who would be just entering into this segment, so they do not get lost in the next 2-3 years, go into the wrong strategy? What is your suggestion to that kind of players? Because the market would again be crowded, I think, once again.
Absolutely. So there were a lot of players in Surat also in Vailai, and I think Kashyap sir can also answer this question very well. So sir, मेरे हिसाब से इसमें ऐसा होता है कि when we are thinking of an e-commerce business, we think of the best thing that we can do. That is the wrong thing that we are thinking. According to me, I may be wrong. We should not start with. We should not start with doing everything that we want to do from day one. We should strategize. Again, the budget part, planning part comes in. And most of us think कि हमको वेबसाइट बनाने देनी चाहिए सबसे बड़ी, जिसमें शॉपिंग इंटीग्रेशन हो, पेमेंट इंटीग्रेशन हो, मुझे खुद का ऐप बना देना चाहिए जिसमें 5 लाख रुपए खर्च कर दूंगा. तो इन सब चीजों की जगह rather than आप Shopify का यूज करें, आप Wix का यूज करें, जो बहुत ही इजी वो प्लेटफॉर्म्स है, आपको इतना खर्चा भी नहीं होगा. अगर आपको ऐप चाहिए तो आप ऐप तो बिल्कुल मत बनाइए, बिकॉज अभी ऑलरेडी इतने सारे ऐप्स हैं। आप बल्कि ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म्स यूज कीजिए, जैसे मैं एग्जांपल दूंगा, सूरत के दो स्टार्टअप्स हैं और दोनों के साथ कहीं ना कहीं हम काम करें तो मैं उनको प्रमोट भी कर लूंगा अभी। एक टेक्सटाइल दुनिया करके है जिसपे आप अपने लिस्टिंग्स डाल सकते हैं और उनके ऐप डाउनलोड्स ऑलरेडी है। एक विश बुक करके है सिमिलरली प्लेटफॉर्म जिसपे आप अपने लिस्टिंग्स डाल सकते हैं, उनके ऐप डाउनलोड्स ऑलरेडी लोगों ने किए हुए हैं। तो वो प्लेटफॉर्म्स का यूज कीजिए, आपकी विजिबिलिटी बढ़ाइए और ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म्स पर लिस्टिंग कीजिए। व्हेन यू थिंक कि आपका एक सेल्स एक पर्टिकुलर लेवल तक पहुंच चुका है, योर ब्रांड हैज ग्रोन, फोकस ऑन द ब्रांड। सो एग्जांपल HRX जो मिंत्रा ने बाद में खरीदा, फर्स्ट इट क्रिएटेड हिज ओन ब्रांड। सो ऐसे आप ब्रांड्स बनाइए, एंड व्हेन यू फील दैट यू आर अ कंप्लीट ब्रांड नाउ, देन थिंक ऑफ डूइंग एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम योर वेबसाइट और इफ पॉसिबल ऑन योर ऐप, but I would not recommend an app at least till the next 5 years. That is my answer. Then that is how you can save yourself. Kashyap sir, if you can add something.
Kashyap sir, you would like to add?
Yes. So I think I absolutely agree with this, that having your own web store and an app is a dream, okay, which everyone thinks of. कि यार मैं भी Dream 11 की तरह I'll create an app and there'll be million of downloads. But it doesn't happen, especially in the e-commerce space, because as I mentioned earlier, the biggest challenge in the digital space is the customer acquisition cost. Now, we always think of business, traditional businesses, they'll say कि यार cost क्या है मेरा? My cost is, the kind of product I'm making. So that is one cost. My cost is my salary and team cost. They never think customer acquisition, which is the biggest cost as far as the B2C business is concerned. Because in B2B, your salesman run, meeting few guys and doing sales, and maybe those, especially in a textile space, those wholesaler agent visiting your retail store and doing that business, that is drastically different than the digital world. Here, to acquire one customer, to get one download, there is going to be a sizable investment. So that customer acquisition cost, depending on the what kind of categories you have, it may vary from 300 rupees to maybe 5,000 rupees per customer. Now you need to find out whether you're going to justify that customer acquisition cost, whether the customer lifetime value justifies that cost or not. Because if I'm spending 5,000 rupees to acquire one customer, and if you're going to buy a 300 rupees ka kurti on my website from my app, and then wo chala jane wala hai, so my business model doesn't work at all. So I think thinking of, as Anand said, thinking of a web store and your app is different. Focus on building your presence, a strong presence on the digital space. Create some traction, as I said, build a community, have some following. Okay, once you're confident that when the day I launch, I'm going to have this kind of loyal subscriber to my product, then you do it. And I think I gave example of the Soul Store and Bewakoof, a classic example, t-shirt brands. They started with Mintras of the world. Now, if you see, they're not available on Myntra at all. Why? Because they discontinued, but they discontinued after 4-5 years. Because now they have a fun following on Facebook and Instagram. They have their own traction. They've built their e-marketing capabilities, and then they switch to their own platform. So I think you need to define your broader strategy based on what kind of resources you are there. If you have deep pockets, you can go all out from day one. But how many of you have those deep pockets? And if you have, please contact us.
Very, very true and practical answer, that your customer acquisition cost is more than the sales amount which a customer would not make any sense. So a very interesting point raised here. Again, Kashyap bhai, to you, my next question would be that since there would be a lot of clutter in the digital market space, so how do you actually build a proper digital brand? Because no one is thinking about building a right digital brand in that space. Can you share? I know that it would take another webinar to do that digital brand, but few glimpses or few insights from your side on this important thing which a person should look at.
So as I mentioned in my talk, that there is no different than a digital branding strategy compared to the regular branding strategy, because branding is branding. Okay, all those principles of branding remains the same in the digital space also. Now the problem, so there are advantages, but there are certain challenges in the digital space. That digital space gives you that misconception, or that misnomer that because I'm doing sales, because I'm generating revenue, I'm building brands. So for example, I'm very happy that from Surat, there are few kurti brands, few sari brands who are doing business upward of 50 CR per year on the e-commerce platform, which is a very good business. I'm sure those guys are doing something right to reach that level. But my question is, how many of them are doing branding? Because what they're doing is they're just playing on the pricing. I think most of the guys you speak to, so they'll say, "Arey yaar, if I'm a kurti brand, I'll say I'll keep my brand little less compared to Biba. You know, मेरा design same है, but Prisa से थोड़ा सस्ता बेच रहा हूँ मैं." So the game is sasta. Now, sasta, cheap is a very cheap branding strategy. Okay, so I think it may be right or an initial entry strategy, market penetration strategy. It is right to have the right price point to acquire customers. But over a period of time, you need to build a strong brand. How do you build a strong brand? You need to have a clearly defined your brand strategy, basic principles. You need to have a very, very absolute clarity about what kind of customers you are targeting. When I say, "Kya yaar, kurti brand mein, who are your customers?" Or whoever wears kurti. Absolutely, okay. Everyone is never your client. Okay, you have to have absolute clarity about who are your clients. Let me give an example of those, online jewelry brands. Okay, those Blue Stone and the Carrot Lanes of the world. So if you see Carrot Lane campaign, it's a Tanishq group company now. Now Tanishq is also gold jewelry brand. Carrot Lane is also a jewelry brand. How they differentiate? If you see their ad campaigns, you'll find out how they differentiate. In Carrot Lane, they clearly shows young professional working women, buying jewelry online. So it's like empowering one message that is going, okay, I can buy online, and they have clearly defined the target audience. So if you see, and in Tanishq ad, they show a family, having that buying experience, because, in the jewelry shop, you typically go for a, little expensive jewelry buying. So I think clarity about your target audience is the fundamental thing. So I think you do that. Then most importantly, you develop your brand campaigns. Now, how many of you are developing brand campaigns? Now, for example, if I see campaigns forget campaigns, the catalogs of those textile brands from Surat, no offense to them, but I can bet that if I remove the brand name, even the brand owner cannot differentiate kiska catalog kaun sa hai, because all catalogs look the same beautiful model wearing saris and kurtis. There is no messaging, there is no differentiation, there is no visual identity. Okay, now these are the basic principles of brand building. If I look at an ad, okay, I should be able to tell you, yaar, kiski brand hai. Okay, forget the ad. If you see the hospitality industry, I can look at a building and we can tell you whether this is a Grand Hyatt or a JW Marriott. Now, this is the way they build their buildings, their hotels. So why can't we do that for our brand campaigns? But we don't do it. And then we'll say, oh, we are brand nahi bana rahe, because there is no differentiation. So I think that to work on your differentiation, come up with the right creative strategy is very, very important. And this is where, if you see, most of the tier 2 brands are struggling, because here in tier 2 cities, be it Surat or other cities, so I'm not just blaming Surat, it is across tier 2 cities, because branding is a long-term process. It requires investment, time, energy. Now we want instant gratification. We have that transactional mindset, trading mindset. आज कुछ बना है, कल बेच देना है मुझे. Okay, 100 रुपए में लिया, 110 में बेचना है. I don't want to, invest my time and energy in building a brand. So that's why if someone tells you, okay, for developing this kind of brand campaign, a really truly creative differentiating campaigns, okay, we don't want to pay. So if you don't pay, you don't get the right talent. You don't get the right talent, you come up with a shabby campaigns. So that's the biggest challenge most of these brands are facing. Why do we remember campaigns like Cadbury, India's, great campaigns, or Asian Paints campaign? Because those brands in even early days invested in identifying the right customer insight, converting that right customer insight into a very, very interesting creative campaign and reaching out to the customers. So when Surf 40 years back said that Lalita ji, Surf ki kharidari mein samajhdari hai, so what they were doing is they were targeting a housewife who should be smart. क्या जो पैसा बचाती है वो housewife, वो गृहिणी is important for that family. Now they got that insight and they developed the campaign. Now if I ask most of the brands, they don't have that insight. they develop a campaign because they like it. अरे यार मजा आ रहा है, I took this falana XYZ model or a TV actress and I did create this story. It looks visually very interesting, but then there is no story. So it will give you a brand awareness, but it will not build brand. I think this differentiation, we need to have an absolute clarity. Ki you can develop any campaign with any celebrity and you can use media to reach out to your customers. It will give you brand awareness, but will it actually build brand? Answer is no. And I think Surat has experienced that. Surat has brands after brands, sari brands after brand, slowly dying. All the brands died. Why? Because they just created brand awareness. Nobody could build brands. I think that lesson we need to learn.
I would like to ask a very harsh question. I do understand that, of course, the brand is more important, but lot of business owners also complain this way. Also, informs us or give an insight that, let's suppose Zara has built a brand. He was at the right price point. Zara has built a very huge brand. He also has to close 25% of its stores or 30% of his stores within a time frame of 2 years, and he has to shift his business to online e-commerce or into certain another segment. Why such a big brand who should benefit the most after this lockdown or COVID is trying to close down the brick and mortar business, and what's all this about?
So I do not like to comment on the specific example of Zara because I don't know why they
Zara or any of the luxury
so
brands.
in general, okay. So one thing, so that reaction to the current scenario. Now, see, if you see, there are a lot of I would say dramatic reaction to the current scenario, extreme reaction to this current scenario. People closing down in Bombay, for example. A leading luxury car brand, they closed down their few showrooms, so which was a very, very wrong message. How can they do it? But they did. Okay. Now, why they did, they have own reason for that. So I'll not comment on that. Okay. What your question is, why even the bigger brands struggle with that? That's your question, right?
Correct.
So I think, see, if you see long term, okay, the impact on the bigger brands is less compared to those who have not built their brand. So if Zara has closed down 20% of their stores, maybe whatever, okay, X percentage, there are hundreds of other fashion brands who are going to die. Okay.
True.
So your brand is your insurance. If you see in difficult time, brand gives you strength. So for example, when Cadbury may say कीड़ा निकलेगा, so they can survive because over a period of time they build a strong brand. So brand gives you that leverage. If you make mistake, if you have facing tough times, your loyal customers will take you through that difficult times. So that is the importance of branding, but it's long term and it's costly. Again, I think I like to add one point. A lot of people will say कि branding बहुत खर्चा करता है. The branding मतलब I have to use media expenses. Now you give example of Zara. Zara doesn't advertise. Okay, Starbucks doesn't advertise. Okay, so now again this misconception that branding means advertising and uske liye I need to buy media and it's going to be very, very expensive. It's wrong. Okay, that is one. Okay, you need to have your brand story right. You need to have your campaigns right. Okay, you need not use your media only to reach out to your customers. Tesla, they don't do ads, but Tesla is the #1 car brand right now. Not a single ad campaign in all these years. How did they do it? They use PR and other mediums effectively for that. So I think branding and expense, let's de-link those two things and then look at your brand in a different way.
Very true. Thank you, Kashyap bhai. Since we are at the end of the session, and the right point which you raised is that brand is our insurance. If you have brand, you will make fewer losses in the time of disruption or the distort. But if you do not have a brand, you eventually may have to die yourself or will have to suffer huge losses. Anand, the concluding remarks from your side, the discussions which we had, the journey which you had in last 3 months, what is the right 3 suggestions or the action points for our entrepreneurs and the business owners?
Thank you so much, sir. So, concluding to the last point which Sharan you were discussing, I would like to add one more brand, which is my favorite brand, which is Maggie. So, it had gone through a very huge controversy. It was banned for a few months, and still it is the most famous brand. And lockdown में भी लोगों के पास Maggie ज़्यादा होगी, आटा कम होगा. So that is the best example of building a brand and owning for it. So the basic suggestions that I would like to give for entrepreneurs who are entering into e-commerce segment or who are doing it, but they are now trying to focus more on the e-commerce part is that listing करना या social media पे basic campaigns करने से आपको sales नहीं मिलेगा. तो एक particular resource, एक particular planning, एक particular budget उसके लिए अलग से रखना पड़ेगा, जैसे अभिषेक जी ने भी बोला, और उसको constantly monitor करना पड़ेगा. And if you have the right team, right planning, right budget, apart from just listing and have specific targets कि मैं इसमें ये achieve करना है, मुझे listings में keywords डालने हैं, मुझे Amazon, Flipkart में भी ad campaigns करने हैं, मुझे lightning deal और मुझे season sale और prime और plus पे मुझे criteria fulfill करने हैं, मुझे सिर्फ ऑनलाइन प्रेजेंस नहीं रखना है, पर मुझे ब्रांड स्ट्रेटजीज भी बनानी है, ब्रांड कैंपेन्स भी बनाने हैं. अगर मैं ये सब का एक सर्कल बना के कर रहा हूँ, तो मेरा चाहे वो ई कॉमर्स हो या नॉन ई कॉमर्स ब्रांड हो, वो कहीं ना कहीं हेल्प करेगा आपको लॉन्ग रन में, नॉट इफ इन द शॉर्ट रन. Kashyap sir.
Kashyap sir, what are the concluding remarks from your side?
So I think I'll just say one thing. Okay, as a businessman, we always cannot think a very, very long term with no immediate revenue. So I think it is very important to strike the right balance between the immediate short term revenue and long term brand building. And I think the two things that can be used to do that is, one, using the right customer insights to come up with the right branding and marketing campaign, a real category disruptive creative campaign to engage customers, and two, use technology to your advantage, be it analytics, be it the newer technologies. Abhishek mentioned about Lenskart. Lenskart use very interesting technology, to engage their customers. So, it's, if you're on the online space, you need to understand, if not have an in-house capability, but you need to understand technology, because in the digital world, technology also plays a very, very important role. So leverage technology. If you do that, I'm sure you will be able to build a very, very strong brand, even in the e-commerce space.
Thank you, Kashyap ji and Anand ji, for sharing such nice information. I hope all the participants, the entrepreneurs and the business owners got the right balance of digital brand and the e-commerce from our side. And I hope to look forward to all of you in our further webinars. We would be coming with the right theme of the webinars, right actionable points for the business owners here. If anyone wishes to contact us in future, can visit our website www.syncro.com, www.kslconsulting.com. They can reach out to Anand and Kashyap ji on the Facebook and ask their questions or any of their doubts on the Facebook media, on the websites, and they can contact us personally. Thank you all of the participants, and thank you both of the wonderful speakers for sharing their